Here we go. Welcome to How Do You Not Know This? I realized on driving to a gig that my opening act, Dom Hatton-Woods, often does not know about very basic things, despite the fact that he went to a private school and is a very intelligent fellow. So I'm going to tell him about things he should know about. But I don't know much either. So I've got a reinforcement. I've got Tony Vino here.
Back up.
Yeah, I'm like offline Wikipedia for you, Daliso. We're here.
Would you say you're an intelligent man?
I would say generally a bit knowledgeable, but not very good at specifics.
Actually, there is something I will say. Is there's a guy that does a religious podcast, Alex O'Connell or something.
I've heard of that guy. Yeah, Alex. No, he's the philosopher, atheist philosopher.
Yeah, he went on Finn Taylor's,
he's clever, man.
He went on Finn Taylor's show, and Finn was taking the piss out of him. So I listened to one of his. Oh, God, it's a lot, isn't it?
Fantastic.
Well,
there
tried.
we go. How's that? And what was something on there that you should have known?
Too much information for me to take anything out.
Oh, you... I thought it's just the fact you didn't used to pay attention, but now when you're paying attention, you can retain stuff.
I'm too far behind. Where do I start? Dinosaurs?
Yeah. Well, I realized last week in episode 1, I did a bunch of research.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to convey my research. But then I realized, no, we want it to be a memory thing. Because I'm just going to go based on what I remember from when I was in school.
This is it.
And
right.
You're remembering what you
And
were...
we've got the whole spectrum of education here. We've got me from the lowly sort of comprehensive northern school system. We've got you on the international...
I was from like Eton Africa edition.
Eton Africa.
Because I went to the Kenyan Eton, essentially, very posh British. And then I went to Waterford Kamhlaba in Swaziland, which is a very United World College thing.
Fantastic. So Hogwarts, Kenya. And then we've got... And you, private education.
Yeah, it was like a fake private school, I would say.
Is it, as in,
Why fake? They took your money. That's all it takes.
Not my money.
Someone emailed his
I would
dad.
have focused it as well. Well, one of the teachers wasn't even a teacher. He just went to the school.
We had a very similar thing. Well, okay, so there's the United World Colleges.
Yeah.
There are around 12 of them all around the world. Like one in Italy, one in France, one in Singapore. Very, very, very prestigious. But sometimes there would be a teacher who's got tenure and then has a problem. So like there was one he was an alcoholic. And they're like, what to do with him? They sent him to the African one. So we had some teachers who were like the sort of the misfits of this. They're still clever, but I remember him like he was such a mean guy. He was always really harsh in class, and then in the evenings you'd find him singing and smiling. And you
What
really
changed?
know what's going on, and then gradually you're like, oh, he's drunk.
Yeah.
He's drunk.
His spirit's living. Because I remember doing a gig at a private school years ago, and that conversation afterwards, I was chatting to the teachers, you know, in the staff room, whatever, and they said, you know, there is more. I suppose stringent kind of policies on recruitment when it comes to the comprehensive system. So I think there is probably because there's more freedom in running a private school. But I mean obviously the buildings look great, and I did say to the kids, I said, look, you know, it was $45,000 a year at the time for these kids at this school. I said, you know, you can get all this free, and then you could just go to Disneyland. Honestly,
But
And what did they say? Laughed.
okay, present company acceptance. Is it not that the private school opens more doors for you?
Well, I mean, there was a school near me called Millfield, and that was like Ellie Goulding went there.
Yeah.
So yeah, there maybe, but that's a top end. But this one, nah.
Okay.
see, I don't know. Yeah, that's probably the myth that
I reckon
perpetuates it.
It's,
This idea
you
that-
say it's a myth. Like literally, my family went to Harvard, UCL, McGill. Like
yeah.
But what doors does that open for you?
that's exact. For me,
Now, in your current life,
in my current life,
meeting Tony opened more doors for you.
no, actually,
Oh.
that like the kind of comedian I am is because I'm massively overeducated.
Yeah, but that's not what doors. That's not with the anything to do with the opportunities that are presented to you.
It was a very crazy curriculum. Like when I went to university, I was 2 years ahead of everybody. Right? It fills your head, and I think that helps you write, and it gives you a depth and breadth of stuff to do. But also, I went to a really good university. Now I ended up on a path where that doesn't matter as much, but I'm just saying, like. It does make a difference if you go to, Charlton Comprehensive or Harvard.
Yeah. I mean, I think what I remember you saying this a while back, because it's not like, the idea that doors open for you. I mean, obviously, some of the private schools, people literally open doors for you, right? That's the difference, the comprehensive. So, but it's not a sense of privilege. But what you were saying, I remember you said this idea that it has an internationalist outlook. So it says, look, you children here are going to rule the world.
And the curriculums, they take so much time deciding. Now, I actually think public schools should do the same thing, but they take so much time deciding what the curriculum should be. And then also there's personal care.
Yeah.
I could go to any teacher, because the classes are small, and get extra personal tutoring. You can't do that in most public schools.
No, man.
Fuck off.
It just...
Can you imagine if you're like, my English teacher...
Yeah, but what kids are doing that? If
English
any
teacher...
kids,
so I'll give you an example. My English teacher, I wrote a story which they thought was good and had potential. And she said, this is really good. Anytime you write a story, not assigned in class, I will read it.
Yeah.
And that was the first step to me writing and being a comedian. That would not have been possible if she had 50 students or something like that.
Yeah.
I think
there were 18 of us.
In my school, if one of us went for extra tutoring, just called them gay.
No, but that is that's at my school too. They used to call me gay. Literally, it is so funny.
It is a bit gay, isn't it?
But I will say,
play football or something, man.
But that's what I find hilarious. The things which were cool
were gay.
Are useless, right? So the kids who were cool in my class were the ones who could dance.
Yeah.
The ones who were good at football, right? All of these things which they're not using in life right now. And the kids who were geeky and bullied are now CEOs or making a lot of money.
The nerds will win out. It always happens. It's just so interesting.
Schools which have the inverted idea. But I suppose it's because you pick up more girls if you're the football player.
I think that's it. I think that the cool kids, they peak too early. Like they get to about 15, they're like, well, I rule this place. Clearly life is going to be like this.
Oh, have you met any of the people who you meet them years later and they're still living the dream?
Oh man, the glory years. They're still talking about it. They're like,
talking about the glory years.
When I got to go out with Natalie, the fittest girl in the year.
Yes.
Because you were,
But were you cool? Because you weren't academic. Were you cool?
Interesting question, actually. Years until about year 9, no, I was in the Freaks group. Oh. And then the Freaks abandoned, because I played golf on the weekends. I wasn't going out with anyone. I was trying to be a golfer. And then the Freaks abandoned me for some reason. I started boarding and I got in with the cool kids. Okay. Started bullying everyone else.
There you go.
Congratulations.
I was bullied and I became a bully.
But here's the question. Did you bully anyone who used to abandon you?
Let me tell you, being bullied, terrible. Bullying, great.
That's really inspirational.
This makes total sense why they were doing this. This is a great time.
Hey kids, life advice from Dom Hatton-Woods there.
I almost was a bully.
It's fun, man.
But I almost was a bully, and I always thank the fact that the person I choose to bully was this kid called Debashish Das, who's a Bengali kid who just moved to the class. Oh. And he was new, he was smaller than me, and I started bullying him, making fun of him, and at one point he had enough, and he attacked me. He flung me against the wall and just went for it. And it was amazing now that I look back, because if I had picked a different person, I might have been a bully. But because I picked someone who fought back, I was like, this bullying game is too dangerous. Too dangerous.
But I think I spent the whole of my last year of school in detention, pretty much all of it. and I don't regret. They put me and my mates all in detention together.
Detention for bullying or
great.
for smoking?
For bullying, there was an autistic kid. He'd have a.
You bullied an autistic
He was
kid?
he was the only one.
That's such a
I was
he
with
the
you.
only
I
one.
was with you until you're like
I
literally
love the way-
bullying an autistic
If there was
kid.
more, I
There
was
was
never
more.
with him, by the way.
Well,
I don't.
autism wasn't really a thing then. Anyway, he'd have instead of a backpack to have his stuff in, he'd have a suitcase, and we go, "Hey, mate,
with
Terminal
a target
5."
on it. Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
And then
I
one
mean,
time
I'll tell
we-
you what's interesting is, you know, roast comedians and comedians who do like roasting the audience and that kind of. I feel like they just do bully humor,
Yeah.
right? It can
Yeah,
be
yeah.
very funny, but it's
Well, it's
the
based
humor
on
of bullies.
what you look like, you know, and anything that is slightly outlandish about you, about the way you look or way you sound, which is just what bullies jump on.
Now
Kids
the
are just
difference is
cold.
because they're not children, the audience member does not burst into tears. But it's bully humor.
Well, the
But
thing is, don't worry about it. I had something to say and then I forgot it.
Well, that's a beautiful message.
Sounds like you're saying, "Don't
no,
worry
no, no,
about
no,
the
kids.
weeping." The weeping.
What I was going to say is the teachers would, like, one time we got the autistic kid and spun him round by his legs. Not great, I admit. And then the teacher calls us in and goes, "Why'd you do this?" And we were like, "Oh, we thought, you know, he wanted to experience what it would be like to be on a ferry ride." But we should have just said, because it was funny. Obviously.
You are not religious, are you?
No.
Well, if you were, you would believe that, you know, in your afterlife, you are going to be spun. There's like a karmic spinning. In fact, your hell might just be 100 years of being spun.
He'll
until
be on the machine. He'll
and
be like,
and
Hi,
he'll be
Dom.
there saying, "Is it funny now? Is it funny now?"
he'll open up his briefcase and there'll be like a litany of charges. Dom Hatton-Woods.
Instead of Terminal 5, you're in the 5th circle of hell.
The best bullying moment
Dante's
was
Terminal 8.
Yes.
there was this kid that was really small. We called him Wee Man because he was so small. And one time we taped him to the bottom of a table before a lesson. And then the teacher
that is
taped him
funny.
up. And the teacher was going, "Where's Owen? Where's Owen?" I don't know, man. And then halfway through the lesson, falls down. "Oh, fuck, there he is." You've been there all the time.
Now
And the
that
teacher
is
said to us in the
funny.
last year, "I had to put you in detention for that." But in fairness, that was very funny.
That was
Oh,
that
they-
is
He said
funny.
that, yeah.
That he said that.
When we finished school, he said, "That was very funny, but I had to put you in detention to do my job."
Wow.
So I think what I would have liked to have done is if I could just go back in time and go, when teacher go, "Why'd you do that?" Because it was funny. I'd have saved myself a lot of
Do
conversations.
you know what? Yeah, and actually,
That's the only reason. It's funny.
discipline at your school was worse. We would have got expelled for that.
Yeah,
But I think because
100%.
none of
'Cause
our
the
parents
money.
were paying. Exactly.
Yeah, they're not expelling.
No.
one.
We
This
were
is crazy.
we were paying absurd amounts, and people were
Our
were
school
expelled,
wasn't
people
doing
were
well and-
suspended. Now I didn't realize though until I talked to kids later
Yeah.
that because I had very good grades and I was very academic, I was getting away with murder because I met up with a friend of mine and she was suspended and she had all these things and I was in the same. I got in the same trouble,
Yeah.
and nothing happened to me. And I understand that though, in that they're like, well, he's doing his homework, and he's, you know what I mean, like
He's a little.
he's somehow getting it.
But with,
My school didn't have the stock to expel.
Yeah. If you got a
Oh, so-
surplus,
Not enough business.
Yeah.
So do they
Then-
get paid per student?
Yeah. £3,500 a term. The parents pay, right? So more students, more parents.
Does work
Oh,
on
okay,
that
right,
as well.
right. Yes.
The government's not paying for me to go to school.
No, but what I meant is like at ours, if I get expelled, they're still taking the money from my parents.
They might have
Do you know
done
what I mean?
for that term,
Oh, for
but
that
not
term,
further than
term.
that.
Oh, yes. Also, the demand was high. Okay, so
Yeah.
they would have replaced me in a second.
Also, a teacher did say to me once, "If you get expelled, we're not refunding your money." And I went, "All right, couldn't give a shit. It's not my money, is it?" Because you got no perception of money at 12 years old, do you?
No.
Oh, I did.
Not at
I
all.
did. We did. They taught us to value money because we got included, because it was a boarding school, we got given 100 rand. Okay? That's the equivalent of like 20 pounds back then. And then on Fridays and on Sundays, there was a bus which would take you into town because we lived on a mountain nearby. It would take you into town and you could buy some stuff and then you could come back. And there were some kids who got given extra money by their parents, and you just see them doing all the stuff, and you just
leading back like
and
a
you just-
giraffe.
you
on
just
a,
have like a slice of pizza or something like
man.
that. But it did teach you, because there were some kids who were clever. So there was one kid, Donovan, a friend of mine. He got his 20. This is at the age of 14. He got his 20, and he bought slices of bread, cheese, ham, and he had got his hands on one of those things which lets you grill.
Oh, panini grill thing.
panini
yeah.
grills. And then
No way.
after lights out, in the boarding school,
Incredible.
you could buy sandwiches from him.
Nice.
And that's the guy that started Weatherspoons.
Well,
yeah?
actually-
that's incredible.
Interestingly, I used to sell. My dad bought me a load of toys. Specifically, the best sellers were the ones, little men you'd throw on the wall and they'd stick to the wall.
I remember them.
Yeah, yeah. And I
Were
sold.
they pink? The ones I had.
I
yeah.
had multicoloured.
Oh,
And
impressive.
and I sold so many of them. The teachers were like, "You need to stop selling that." And then I would sell. I bought £10 of sweets, left with £50.
Fantastic.
I'm making more money than I am now.
Yes,
incredible.
exactly.
Go back.
Well, comedians need treats. So start
Yeah, yeah.
showing up at gigs.
Yeah, yeah.
A pile of sweets. Hey, what do you need?
Next, I'm turning up with a panini machine. You're gonna see if your mate still
Right,
uses
should
it.
we jump into
So-
the education?
Yes, this is
This
all
is it.
on brand though. This is all on brand.
Yeah.
So essentially, for the listeners, every week we pick a subject which we think Dom probably knows nothing about.
You say think.
Well,
You're pretty silly.
I'm
Taking
still
an
expecting
educated-
you. I'm still expecting you to surprise me one day, where we ask you a question and you just give us like all of, like
Yeah.
Rain Man. You give us all the answers. But
Well, I actually taught my housemate Alex something the other day.
there you
Oh
go.
yeah.
Because a piece of post came, not for us, and it said Doctor, blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, you might just have a PhD. Because if you have a PhD,
Oh, he didn't know.
you don't
that-
actually have to be a doctor, do you? And he went, is that right? And I went, I think so, but I wouldn't take it for sure from you.
You were right. You were right.
Yeah.
You did not lead him
Well
astray.
done, mate.
Well done. You
So I
did
was
not
pretty
lead him
happy with that.
astray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So the question which we have for you today,
Mm-hmm.
before we give in, is what do you know about what started the First World War?
Fucking hell.
In fact, let's go with a couple. Let's start first of all. Give
Is
us
this the one Churchill was in?
Anything. Give us anything you know about the
Churchill
First
was
World
in the
War.
First World War,
Was
but,
he, yeah?
but it was.
But no, but don't confuse him now.
But he was.
Failed.
He failed in Gallipoli, but let's
Yeah.
not worry about that.
Let's not worry
Yeah,
about
come
that.
on, man.
So, first of all, what the years? Give us the years roundabout First War, also known as the Great War. Okay.
Yeah. Try and stay in there, Daliso, otherwise you'll go off the
Yes.
screen. Sorry.
So when do you think what? Because we're thinking this must have been,
1948.
no.
Ah. Was that the second
you're
one?
closer to two. You're in the
That's-
realm for World War II.
That's not even the one for two.
No, that's not even the one.
What
for
do you
It's
this.
get
not the one for
1948
two,
from,
but I think it's in the realm. It's in the right decade
So-
for two. But
So
it's
forget
not
two.
They played-
We're doing First World War.
First World War.
They had a game of football on Christmas Day, didn't they?
Goodness,
I love
they
that you
did.
remember that.
The
Yes.
first Christmas,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
because it was they had trench warfare and
Comics
then
got a bit about. Well, that was just mad to me. Like, whoa, they played football.
How do you know
Incredible.
about that one?
I knew it. And then also a comics got a bit about it.
Oh, okay, I
But
thought it
that's
was-
not why I knew it. I knew it
Oh, I
anyways.
thought it was from like there's a play or a movie or What a Lovely
I think
War.
my school teacher mentioned it, and I was thinking about porn or something, and then I thought, oh,
Oh, football.
that's interesting. I don't even like football. I just thought that's mad.
That is mad.
And I thought that would have hurt your feet, wouldn't it?
How about who? So we're talking 1914 to 1918. Okay, right. So
Right.
who were the who
4
was
years,
fighting?
did it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Germany,
21 million
Germany
people
and,
died. 9
Germany.
million soldiers. Okay, good start.
Good start.
So Germany, who was
I know
on Germany?
this. I know this.
Let's
'cause
do a
I went-
football analogy.
Hang
Who was
on.
on their side? Right, Germany.
I know
were up
this because I
front.
went to Berlin to do gigs, and I messaged Jeff Innocent before I went and
Yes.
said, "Have we got any history with the Germans?" And he went, "Are you being serious?" And then I googled it and went, "No, I was joking. I was joking because I didn't want him to think I was an idiot." But I wanted to know. I was like, I'll talk about some. And I'll be, I don't know if we've got any. Glad
Yeah.
I can ask
Brilliant.
now.
That's
Okay,
brilliant.
good.
So
Germany.
Germany. Who was on
BMW
the BMW? Now
probably
BMW.
went around in the World War. Wouldn't have thought.
So BMW was more connected with the Second World. But who's on Germany's side?
The Germans.
Very good.
Very good.
Now, But who else? What other countries? Well, you had what's called the Central Powers. So
Austrians.
he's done it.
Is that
The
right?
Austro-Hungarian
He's done
Empire,
it.
yes,
right.
which is like Hungary and Austria
Yeah.
and all them lot. That was the kind of the end. That's it. And then you had Germany, which
where
was
that came
the Kaiser Wilhelm,
Yeah.
and they linked with the Austria, and then
But do you know why? So
how did it kick off?
so we got to
Hitler's
tell
not
you how it
involved in this,
kicked
is
off.
he?
Hitler is not a
This is
Hitler's
separate.
number 2.
He's painting-
He's the
he's
sequel.
doing- he's
in
doing-
the sequel. You're in.
Okay.
You're in Empire Strikes Back. We're still on
Mein Kampf.
A New Hope.
yeah.
That's all. That's all. Empire
Hitler's
Strikes Back
just
stuff.
got like crayons in Liverpool, and he's doing pink, whatever. So
What?
who else?
So-
So you got that's the Central Powers: Germany, Austro-Hungary
And then who's on the British side?
are the main two.
Britain.
Very good.
Very good.
Nailing it.
You know
And
the Allied powers. Who else?
Irish, probably. Scottish.
Let's say that's part of Britain. Okay, so the Scottish.
It wasn't
What-
then,
what-
though, was it?
Scotland was always part of Britain, but back then. But let's not concentrate. Who are the ones on the continent? Who's the big powers? The Allied powers.
Can we stop using big words, please?
Allies. Mates. Who are the mates?
Who are the mates?
Who are the mates?
Britain.
You're doing really well with Britain, by the way. I mean, you're massive.
Yeah.
That.
I don't know.
Russia.
All right.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Russia.
Not now.
Oh,
no, things have changed.
Things have changed. Things have changed.
Russia's changed a lot because
Yes.
it was an empire back then. You had Tsar Nicholas.
Yeah.
That was
Stay on topic.
No, it was. I
Oh,
mean,
is
that
it?
is on topic because
It
that
is
was
on
too many
topic.
words
It's
for
on
me.
topic.
it was the end of the Tsarist Russia during the First World War. They went in for a bit and then they left halfway through
Right, okay.
because Lenin and all that and communism and bullshit.
But
Anyway,
the thing which sparked it off, actually was treaties, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when, let's say you're running let's not even say country. Let's say this house, which is your house,
Well, not really.
right? And no, but say you live in this house.
I do live in it.
Okay, you live in this house, and let's say like there's like an apocalypse, and we're like Mad Max style. People are fighting different houses.
Yeah.
Right? You know you could be attacked at any time. So you'll call Tony's house
Yeah.
and say, Tony, let's make a deal. If someone attacks your house, I'll come help you. Mm-hmm. If someone attacks my house, you come help me. And that's the deal.
yeah,
Right?
That
And
feels
then-
like there's a long way to go.
it is. But
it is, but like literally, if you hear them coming smashing at your door, they'll come, and then he can message me and say, if someone attacks my house. And what the problem with that though is, if all of us have agreements that, hey, I'll defend you if you're attacked, you'll defend
And I'll
him
defend
if I'll
you,
defend
and
you. And then the people there have like, hey, if I go to war, will you help me if someone attacks me? It means that what would be a one-on-one fight quickly turns into like a full-on brawl. It's like if you're in a pub
Yeah.
and two people go at it, but then now all their mates
do you remember
jump in.
Yeah, do you
Yeah,
remember the
yeah.
Royal Rumble in WWE
Yeah, I used to
wrestling?
like WWE,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like a proper cage match. Everybody just because it started with
Just a load of-
Germany and Austria.
So there was a guy who was assassinated,
yeah.
right?
And he was named after a
In the WWE.
modern music band, wasn't he?
is
Franz
this-
Ferdinand. You heard of Franz Ferdinand?
Is this in the WWE?
No,
We're not doing WWE
right.
anymore.
No.
But Archduke Franz Ferdinand, who was the next in line for the Austro-Hungarian Empire to
Right.
lead it, he got shot
Yeah.
in Serbia. Was it Serbia?
I think it was
Belgrade,
Serbia,
yes.
and then they blamed some people.
they blamed the Serbians.
They blamed the Serbians.
Yeah.
Some people say
That's
they're not
right.
to blame, but they were blamed, and then
the Serbian government, they were saying that you
And
allowed
then-
it to happen.
it all starts. The chain starts. You're my ally, so you come help me fight. You're
Yeah.
their ally, and it literally went from what would be
escalated.
a small thing, and it escalated. And the reason it's important, right? Even you might be like, why does it matter what happened in 1914?
I think that.
Right?
about this.
Same thing could happen right now, right? This was why we were worried at the beginning of the Ukraine thing, right? Because it was Ukraine, Russia,
Yeah.
right? Now, when America started sending like Ukraine arms to help them, that could have led to Russia then saying, well, I'm fighting you, America. And then America's like, yo, Britain,
we're in.
We're in.
Yeah.
And then Russia's like, yo, China, come on. And it could spiral into a huge world war. And that's the whole thing. It's like,
you can see how it escalates. We could say it's a slight under exaggeration, but it got a little bit out of hand.
Got a little bit out of hand.
I mean, 21 million
and
people died.
There'd never been a war like that.
No.
This is why they used to. It's so funny how optimistic they were.
Bit
though.
much.
They called it the war to end all wars because they thought it was so bad. So many people died. People would never do it again.
If there was a war now with modern technology, a world war, that'd be mental, wouldn't it?
It'd just
Well,
be
that's
crazy.
But that's why people call it the nuclear deterrent, because they're saying that the fact that some people have nuclear weapons is why we've not gone to war.
Yeah, the
Because
idea
It would just be over.
mutual
they'll
self-destruction,
both
isn't it? Yeah,
blow each other up.
we won't get there. But,
And that's also why it was really tense. You weren't born yet, or were you just born? Like
99.
Later. Oh yeah. So in the 80s, there was a Cold War going on where Russia had nuclear weapons, America had nuclear weapons, and they hated each other. And we literally thought it could kick off at any moment. And I remember literally doing like, I don't know why they thought African countries would get bombed too, but we did like drills of what to do if nuclear war happened.
wow.
Yeah.
There you go. You see, and then you had a thing at the end called the armistice. You know, because armistice, where they basically.
You say it like that. Is that the actual? I always thought it was armistice.
Oh, I like. Yeah.
Armistice
armistice
like,
actually
sounds like the mistress.
Yeah.
Oh, your
that
mistress on my arm. She's my mistress.
That's probably a better way of saying it. But and then part of what preceded. It's linked to the Second World War because Germany thought they had quite a bad deal on that, and there was a lot of resentment and everything that came from that.
But
So
at the end of the war, they
Resentment.
tried. They had they went to a place called Versailles, and they had a big meetup, and kind of like tried to make peace. Like right now, they're literally. This is why it popped into my head as a thing to ask you, because right now, Trump
Yeah.
and Putin are having a chat about Ukraine without Ukraine there, right? This is crazy. Like literally, it's like you've
That is
broken
mad,
up
isn't it?
with your girlfriend. You have to divide the stuff. You have to come to an arrangement. You're not involved. She's not involved. Us two decide.
we're like going, yeah.
To be fair, that probably would have gone better than mine went. If you dealt with it.
As long as he's got his podcast recorder, he's
Exactly.
all right. Yeah.
You're fine. You're
Yeah.
fine. But it's just one of those things. They always say those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it, and it's very clear that.
But you studied history, and
I
you're
did
doomed
not.
never to repeat it.
I didn't
You
do
can see-
history.
Do you not at school?
I didn't pick it.
No, but at school,
I did it in the early years.
in
before.
the early years, in the early years. But in the early years, they would have talked about the First World War.
But my history teacher was my chemistry teacher, so we just ask him sexual stuff.
Here's my question: if your history teacher was fit, would you have remembered it?
No.
No.
It would have been too
I'd
distracted.
have been thinking less about.
Oh, I didn't know if that was a motivator because literally we had a really hot scripture teacher,
Scripture.
like
Scripture.
religion, and she was so hot that I would do all the homework, I would do extra reading, and I was just like, if all our teachers were supermodels, I would be like,
That's
valedictorian.
Well, mate. So I hope that you've learned some of that. Now, is there anything that you think we might not know?
About
Anything-
what?
I don't know. We laid this down. We laid this down last week. Let's give us something from your because we're bridging the generational divide, Dom.
What have I been looking into
What
this
have you
week?
looked at this week? Just even if it's the length of a TikTok video.
What have I looked at? I've been watching Top Boy.
Oh, fantastic.
I've never watched Top Boy.
I know
great,
nothing
man.
about Top Boy.
I know nothing about Top Boy.
As you can see from my clock, I know about Top Man, but that's about it. Yeah.
And I'm very aware that it's going to be very funny that a white person's telling me about Top Boy, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know about Top Boy. So tell
Well, I
me
mean, it's
something
essentially
about
about two gangs. Well,
Yeah.
there's two. There's Top Boy Summer House, which is the first one, and then Drake, the rapper, started producing the second season, which is just Top Boy. And one of the gangs is called Summer House, and the other one's called ZTs.
Yeah.
Zero
Okay.
Tolerance, which means zero tolerance for.
It's British, right?
It's British.
Then how is Drake producing it? Or just because
He got involved. He liked the first one, and then
nice.
Okay.
Dave's in it, the rapper. Ashley Walters, Kano, the rapper.
Oh,
You know
Kano.
Yeah. He's one of the main characters.
This is great.
And he ZT zero tolerance, which means zero tolerance for other gangs selling on their turf, which is the whole of London.
In the right.
Yeah.
Actually, and everywhere. They went one episode. They came to Manchester, and it's essentially about the London gangs.
And their rivalries.
Their rivalry,
stuff like
big
that.
bit. Season 2, a lot of stuff going on right now.
And it's drug dealing and
Drug dealing, and it
guns.
makes me think: is there actually, because there's like estates where just people get stabbed, and then there's kids behind it playing football. Is there actually places like that?
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
love to go to one just to hang out for a bit.
Have you gigged with Nabil?
No,
Well, that's his past.
really.
Yeah.
You just see murders on a daily basis.
Well, yeah, he talks about it, and he went to
On
prison.
stage?
He was in gangs. Yeah, well, I mean, he talks about it in his first show, not in comedy club, but when he does his tour shows, he talks about all of it. Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of, and you Vince Atta. I don't know if you know.
Did he
Vince?
grow up in that area?
Yeah, I talked to him. Not that area, but he grew up in I can't,
Manchester.
I can't
Yeah,
necessarily say,
somewhere
it, but
in
like he
yeah.
was involved in stuff, and he will.
He'd be good on a
If
podcast.
you chat to him, he'll talk about it. I won't tell his story, but
Yeah, so I would actually quite like to just go to an area like that for a day to see what's going on.
don't go alone.
I think I'd be fine. I don't think they're going to just hurt me for no reason, are they?
No,
They don't,
but
they don't want that heat
you
to just
you might
kill.
get robbed. I mean, this is the whole thing.
I've not got much at the minute.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's a matter of looking like you belong. So it's the same thing like if you go to South Africa, people talk a lot about how much crime there is, right? But you can walk down the street, no problem, if you seem like you belong. If you don't seem like you belong, you're a target. And it's very subtle. It's hard to even teach how you look like literally it's things like if you look people in the eye in a certain way, and I'm just saying there's so many cues you don't know that you should never go there alone.
This might be racist, but do you think being black would help? Just being in an area like that?
No,
Do you
again,
think you'd be
no,
alright?
no. I'll tell you the truth. Like being black helps me when they're white gangs, because
Right.
white gangs look at me and be like, "Oh, don't mess with him. He's black."
Why?
But black gangs, because
They think you might be part of another gang or not?
or they just think they'll make assumptions that I don't have money, or they have all
Right.
sorts of assumptions which work in my favor. But a black gang would still see me as a possible target because, well, not necessarily really in the UK, but like let's say I was in America, because I don't dress a certain way, I don't belong. Do you know what I mean? Like it's literally like if you watch, Straight Outta Compton or something, they don't dress like this. Like literally, there are loads of little ways which you show you don't belong. So like when I was in South Africa, and I was this was in between high school and university. I was in South Africa, just running around doing stuff. I used to take these little buses to travel around, and the advice I was told all the time is don't speak, right? Because until I speak, I seem like I belong.
Nobody knows.
So
Yeah, and then you go, ah!
yeah, so I'm safe when I just go head down, kind of pay
Yeah.
and sit down. But if I say, "Oh, what's going on?" the accent makes people ear. Now it's luck. You could be in a bus where there's no criminal, but if there is a criminal, that voice and that accent is like outsider, probably has money. Let's follow him.
I'm quite interested in gangs, actually. I've been going to... This has nothing to do with gangs, but I've been going to the Moss Side Fire Station boxing gym recently.
Okay.
And that would have been seen as quite a... Moss Side as quite a rough area back in the day.
In fact, I used to live
Not
in
even
Moss
back
Side.
in the just when Joel and I were living there were
Yeah,
like
yeah.
people getting
But it's kind
There
of
was-
beautiful. You go to the boxing gym and just all of those people come together, everything goes aside,
It's beautiful. You get these
and they're
little
there for a purpose.
these third spaces within the community. But because like, I remember I did live in Mossa about 18 years ago, but I never had any problem because like there was gang warfare and everything. Genuinely, first after my honeymoon, me and Claire, we went back to our house, and on the first day before we flew out on our honeymoon, after our wedding, the house had been taped off because someone had been shot. Outside our, just outside our house. So it was rough, but because I wasn't involved in any of that gang warfare.
Was it because they spoke up when they said, if anyone has a problem with these two getting going, let them speak now. Like, you put a hit on them.
One call.
One call.
Take the hit, man.
But I remember when I no, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, no, but the only thing I used to get was I'd walk through the park. And in my set, and then all the gang members were there, and they used to shout at me. They used to go Hawaii 5-0 because they all thought I was a police officer.
Yeah,
right.
That makes sense.
And I was like,
yes.
I didn't really correct them.
No, but that protected
Hawaii
you.
5-0.
That protected you, actually.
Thanks very much.
When I first moved here, because I'm from Yeovil, right, and I moved to Manchester, and in Manchester, crime happens.
Yeah.
In Yeovil, crime don't happen.
No.
Yep.
And I was driving along, having a great old time, and this gang of kids on mopeds with balaclavas on cut me off, so I beeped. Think that's just what you do in Yeovil, just to let them know that they'd done that more than anything.
Excuse me,
and then
you young oiks.
yeah, and then they pulled over and pulled out a knife, and I was like, all right, this is very different to Yeovil. I'm not going to do that again.
Wow.
That was like a learning moment. Like, oh, you're in a different place now. You should probably not beep kids on mopeds.
Yeah.
Which is because they just drive through my uni and take people's phones out.
We
their
were
hands.
in Leeds going to a gig, and some kids tried to rob me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Vino squared up to them.
I was like,
What did you do?
taking him off.
So he saw them pickpocket me,
Yeah.
right? And you grabbed the guy.
I said, "Oh, you put that whatever
Put
you
that-
got." Turned out he pulled out a flipping. He had a copy of The Week in
Oh,
his
really?
pocket, so it's like I almost got killed over a magazine.
Over a magazine. Because when he faced him, all his little mates jumped in,
Yeah.
right? And I'm just pushing one of them, but they're like four of them on Tony.
And they was pushing
And
me.
Tony falls to the ground, and they tried to
tr-
stomp
They
you.
tried to get me to the ground, but I didn't
Oh,
fall.
you
That was it.
didn't
So
yeah.
if I'd have falled over, they would have started kicking me a bunch. But because one of them got behind, and then another one, a little one, grabbed my, both to rugby.
Did you hit
tackle
them?
me. And no, I was just pushing them out. I was saying, look, I don't want to fight. You
And
are
do
a
you know how
child.
shallow-
You're like 14 or 15.
But do you know how shallow I am? In my head, I was like, I can't beat up a little kid because, like, I was on a TV show for kids. You know what I mean? Like, literally in my head, I
As
was
they're
like,
kicking
this
the
is
shit
gonna
out of me.
be, this is gonna be a headline. You know what I mean?
is-
Like, literally.
This is a disaster.
All right. Well, we're Leicester.
I reckon.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
reckon good.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
See you next time on How Do You Not Know This?
How do you not know this?